90% of people will never question what they have been taught to believe. Not because they are not intelligent, but because questioning is uncomfortable. It requires admitting that things you have accepted as true might not be. It requires doing the harder work of thinking for yourself in a world that is constantly telling you what to think. And most people never do it. Which means the small percentage who do, who actually develop the habit of thinking independently, critically, and clearly, have an enormous and almost unfair advantage over everyone else in almost every area of life. This video is about how to become one of them. The first thing that separates people who think clearly from everyone else is that they have learned to question the source of their beliefs. Most of what you believe about money, about success, about what is possible for someone like you, was given to you by someone else. Your parents, your school, your culture, the media you consumed growing up. You did not choose those beliefs. You absorbed them. And you have probably never stopped to ask whether they are actually true or whether they are simply familiar. The people who outsmart the crowd do not accept information based on who is delivering it or how confidently it is delivered. They ask where this belief came from. Who benefits from me believing it? What evidence actually supports it? And what would I have to see to change my mind? That last question is one of the most powerful thinking tools that exists. If you cannot answer what would change your mind about something, you do not actually have a belief. You have a bias. The second thing is that they think in first principles rather than by analogy. Most people reason by comparison. This is like that. This worked before, so it will work again. This is how everyone does it, so it must be the right way. First principles thinking is different. It means breaking a problem down to its most fundamental truths and building your reasoning up from there, rather than borrowing someone else's conclusion. Elon Musk famously used this when building rockets. Instead of accepting that rockets were expensive because they had always been expensive, he asked what rockets are actually made of and what those materials actually cost. The answer revealed that the materials cost about 2% of the typical rocket price. Everything else was assumption, tradition, and inherited thinking. You do not have to be building rockets for this to apply to your life. Every time you accept a limitation because that is just how things are, you are reasoning by analogy. Every time you ask why, really why, and trace it back to first principles, you are thinking in a way that 90% of people never will. The third thing is that they are comfortable being wrong. This sounds simple. It is not. Because being wrong means updating your beliefs when new evidence arrives. And for most people, beliefs are not just beliefs. They are identity. Changing your mind feels like losing, like admitting weakness, like being exposed. The people who think most clearly have separated their identity from their opinions. They hold their beliefs loosely. They are genuinely curious about the possibility that they might be wrong, not defensive about it. And when better information arrives, they update without drama. Psychologists call this intellectual humility. And research consistently shows that people with high intellectual humility make better decisions, learn faster, and are significantly less susceptible to manipulation than those who are rigidly attached to being right. The fourth thing is that they protect their attention like it is the most valuable thing they own, because it is. Your attention is what your thinking is made of. And in a world designed to fragment it, notifications, outrage cycles, endless content optimized to keep you reacting rather than thinking. The person who learns to control where their attention goes has a cognitive advantage that compounds every single day. The people who think most clearly are ruthless about what they allow into their minds. They read deeply rather than scroll endlessly. They sit with difficult ideas rather than reaching for the next distraction. They choose discomfort over stimulation because they understand that real thinking requires sustained focus. And sustained focus is becoming one of the rarest abilities on Earth. You do not get smarter by consuming more. You get smarter by thinking more carefully about less. Here's what all of this adds up to. Outsmarting 90% of people is not about being more intelligent than them. It is about being more intentional than them, more willing to question, more comfortable with uncertainty, more protective of the mental space required to actually think. Most people outsource their thinking without realizing it, to the news, to social media, to the loudest voice in the room, to whatever their environment told them to believe. You do not have to. If this video added something to your day, hit the like button and subscribe. More videos like this drop every week, and every single one is built to shift something in the way you think. You're not here to follow the crowd. You're here to think clearly while everyone else reacts. Go do that.